Are you a dog trainer? Looking for pro learning opportunities that go beyond the usual? Click or call the Victoria Stilwell Academy at vsdta.com to discover which of our professionally focused courses are right for you. From foundational starter courses to our comprehensive Level 5 accredited pro dog trainer course, and even specialized courses in advanced topics like reactivity for professionals, VSA offers new and seasoned dog trainers unparalleled industry-leading learning experiences. Find out more and take a completely free preview course now at vsdta.com. That's vsdta.com. And now, on to the podcast. This is the first time I've had these guests on my podcast, and I don't understand why that is. So I think I've been really remiss. Anyway, if you are interested in becoming a trainer, or you want to know about this profession, and you want to know how to get ahead in this profession, then you have to listen to what these amazing women say. They are Gina and Veronica from Dog Biz, which is a dog training business coaching organization. And they have, for so many of our students and our graduates, educated, aided, helped, as well as other trainers out there in the industry get ahead in the business of dog training. So I'm really excited to have them here to talk to you about this whole industry, profession, whatever you want to call it, how as a trainer you can get ahead of it as well, how you can create a really successful business, and some very exciting things that Dog Biz can offer you. So Gina and Veronica, welcome to the podcast. I am very happy that you're here.
Thank you. It's so good to be able to spend some time with you on the podcast. We see you in other areas, other arenas. It's great to be with you today.
Thank you, Victoria. This is a treat.
I'm really glad that you're here, and I have a lot of questions to ask you. So, have you been going since 2003?
Yeah, and it's crazy because we're only 30.
Yeah. We started when we were 6.
Very young. No, so did I. But yeah, it started in the Bay Area in 2003.
That's
Dog
right.
Biz. And what did you suddenly come up with the idea? Were you are trainers, obviously, but did you suddenly go, I see other trainers out there that need help?
Sort of, yeah. We were working together at the San Francisco SPCA at the time. I was director of behavior and training there. Gina was the rehabilitation coordinator and was also teaching in a school for dog trainers that was in the shelter at the time. And we were graduating amazing groups of trainers out into the world. I mean, just incredible. And then we'd check back in with them a year, 2 years down the line and find that they had gone back to careers that they hated or gotten part-time jobs because they couldn't make ends meet. And we kept saying, gosh, somebody really ought to teach the business side of things. Somebody needs to do something about this. And after a few years, we decided, well, maybe that somebody is us. And
yeah. And coming from sheltering, I think one of our passions was making sure that we could help as the most number of dogs possible. We've kind of always been in that game. And so we really wanted to put the most number of positive reinforcement trainers out there doing good things for dogs.
Yeah, and keep them in it for the long haul.
Now, since 2003, when you started this business, how has it changed in the last, however many years? 23 years?
Yeah. I know for me, the original vision was very small. It was, let's just help people, trainers graduating from this program will just help trainers in the sort of immediate San Francisco Bay Area. It didn't take more than a couple of years before we were working with trainers all across the country. And then a couple of years after that, we started getting invitations to speak at conferences all around the world and started to realize that the challenges that trainers have, it doesn't matter whether they're in a small rural area or a huge city, or whether they're here or Australia or Chile, or it just didn't matter. And so, we've been working internationally for probably close to 20 years now.
Yeah, and I think our big pivot, I mean, we've had a few pivots from having a
As
brick
you
and
do in
mortar,
business.
right? A brick and mortar place where people came and took classes, to mostly coaching one-on-one. But then the pandemic happened, and like all businesses, we needed to pivot, and we did it kind of live with a group of people who came along for the ride and turned into the Thrive Group coaching program that we have now. But really, it was just a matter of, we said these trainers need help right now, and we got on, did some Zooms with them live and said, where are you at? How can we help you? And that turned into what we're doing today.
Okay, so for people who maybe have never heard of dog biz, which I don't think you really can be in this profession, and never have heard of you, but maybe there are some. Can you tell me about Thrive? What is Thrive, and how do trainers benefit from it?
Yeah, so Thrive is a group coaching program, and there are two different ways to participate. So, as Gina said, we launched it initially as a free program in the pandemic, just to bring trainers together to try to help more at once and to kind of figure our way through. And at the time, we called it Survive and Thrive because the idea was to let's get through this and come out the other side
Right.
stronger. Um, and partway through, people said, "Yeah, please don't stop." And so we said, "Okay, let's keep going." And the idea was basically that we're better together, right? When we all come together, when we let our guard down, when we stop seeing each other as competitors, and when we stop being afraid of each other's judgments, when we sit down and just really come together with the same kind of positive energy that we use toward the work with dogs, then we can all get ahead. And so, in the pro version of the program, we teach live once a week. People come, um, and we do teaching. Members share the things they're doing that work. There's a private Facebook where people share all their best work. We do office hours, all sorts of things like that. And the whole idea is just this community of positive trainers coming together and saying, here's what's working for me. Here's where I'm struggling. Does anyone have an idea here? And then you sort of all kind of guided by the curriculum that we teach.
One of the things that I think is so special about that Thrive community is it gives you a bigger pulse on what's happening in the profession. So there are trainers from all over the world that join us, and you see how far reaching the work that dog trainers do is.
Yeah.
But also, one of the things we have them do at the start of each session is kind of let us know what wins they have. And when you see the collective wins, so not just I helped a dog and I helped a dog and I helped a family, and when you start to see them come together, you see the real power of community, I think.
Yeah, and especially in a profession where we haven't historically always treated each other as well as we could. It's really amazing to have this really, really, truly positive space where people are as excited for each other's wins as they are for their own. And then we also have another tier of the program, which is a self-paced piece, where without the community element and the live teaching, but for trainers who just want access to the most recent teaching about what is working in dog training businesses, and they can go in and access any of the teaching that we've been doing over the past year. They're able to go in and search the materials, and maybe they have a question. What should I be charging, or how should I handle this difficult moment with the client, or I what marketing should I do next? And they can go in there and get those answers and just keep themselves moving.
Hmm. So that's amazing, and so needed. And I think I remember when I first started as a trainer in London, it was a very lonely profession.
Yeah.
And we didn't have social media or anything like that. You maybe had a few trainer friends, and but that was basically it. And then coming to Manhattan as well. Fortunately for me, I was able to work with a business partner, so we were able to have more of that community and meet and talk about the newest science that had come out, and we only did private one-to-ones, so we would be all over the city. So at least I had that. But I also do remember it being that lonely profession. Now, obviously, we have all the social media, we have everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not still going to feel like we're by ourselves, especially if we're operating in a community. So therefore, having a supportive community, that's one of the many reasons that we have VSPDT, because again, it's a sort of a supportive membership where you can share ideas, you can ask for help, you can, say, hey, I've had a bad idea, I've had a bad day, and people will support you. It's this kind of community as well for people in the industry who need to have support and need to have ideas. I mean, this is fantastic, especially for trainers that are coming into this business.
I agree. I think it's huge. I think about all those years where we did our primary work supporting trainers, as Gina was saying, through one-on-one consulting. And it's really interesting, when you are the person sitting there talking to dog trainers individually, one-on-one, all around the world, and you sort of see the trends in those conversations, both in terms of the things that people struggle with, or the skill sets that they need to build, or questions they have. But one of those themes all those years was isolation. And you can say to somebody, oh, hey, that fear that you have, that doubt you have, that imposter syndrome you're struggling with, that the whatever you can say to people until you're blue in the face, you're not alone in that. We hear that from nearly all the trainers we work with, but it's completely different than getting into a community and actually hearing other people say it and be able to interact and to kind of support each other through it.
And I think about the confidence. That's when we were working with people one-on-one, the people lacked confidence because schools don't teach the business side of things. They didn't go to business school. And so this is a new area for them. And there just wasn't, there was the way to build their confidence. I could say to them, this is going to work. You've got a great idea, but it's not the same as having a whole community of people saying, oh yeah, I did that. It worked. Right. And you can do it too.
Or that was really scary. I was really afraid to do it. It was terrifying to raise my rates, but I did it. And here's what happened. And just that people really do. There's something about being in community and being surrounded by other people who've been there that will buoy up confidence even before you've had the success, which then means that you're more likely to take bold action, which means you're more likely to have the success. And it's quite a phenomenon to watch.
One of the keys to longevity as well that they've seen in people is community.
Yeah.
Those people who have communities around them. I mean, you can have all the money in the world. You can have, every single materialistic, fabulous thing, gadget. But if you don't have community, then it's a harder life.
Yeah.
And so that's why, yes, before that trainers are in competition, and it's very, before social media was there, which enabled us to kind of reach out to people, you had to really reach out to people in your community. And then some of those people didn't want you to reach out to them because you were in competition with them. So I do see this definitely being better. But you said something that I want to pick on, because for so long, I have always said, or I say to my students, when you go out there, don't be afraid to charge. To charge. And I think, a lot of trainers will do pro bono work, and a lot of trainers will do pro bono work for shelters, and then gradually they get burnt out because that's all they're doing. And people are taking more and more from them, and like, well, so-and-so only charges $20 down the road. Like, why are you charging whatever it is you're charging? And I say to trainers, look, this is something that if you went to a school, you have invested in. You have invested your time and your money and your energy into learning this set of skills. You charge what you are worth. And don't be afraid to say, I am, even if you're just new in this profession, I am an expert in this, this, and this. And therefore you need to pay me. Like this is what I charge. Can you expand on this?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people still have a problem charging. Maybe, it's too much. It's too much money to charge, I don't know, £100 or $100 for an hour and a half's one-to-one, let's say. Have you discovered Positively.com yet? When you create a free Positively account, you can enroll in powerful and accessible online dog training courses to help you and your dog live your best life together. Join the supportive and inclusive community dedicated to supercharging your relationship with your dog at Positively.com today. That's Positively.com. And now, back to the podcast.
Yeah, this is a situation where the trainers have such big hearts, they're helpers by nature, and it gets in their way because if you want to help more dogs, raise your rates would be, which makes no sense to anyone, except that when you step back and you look at how people make decisions for their animals, those people that most trainers want to work with, the people who are really committed, not just financially, but are committed in time, and want what's best for their dogs, they are not going out and looking for the cheapest trainer in the area. They're going out and they're looking for the best. They don't go to the cheapest veterinarian. They go to the best. And best in our societies tends to be equated with price. So if you are priced really low, those people that you most want to attract are not attracted to you. And we see it over and over again. No, and it's like you gotta see it to believe it, kind of a thing, because trainers are like, no, that my clients would never pay this. And yet every single year, we see these wins coming in all the time from people who are able to raise their rates. And then there's also the long game. If you want to help the most number of dogs, you have to be in this industry for a long period of time. You can't burn out, or you can't have to leave because you can't pay your bills or take that second job. So if you want to help the most number of dogs possible, you have to charge a sustainable rate that lets you live comfortably. And I don't know why we think as dog trainers that a comfortable living is not, that we're not valuable enough for that, or we don't deserve that. I think that's a misconception. It's one we hear a lot though.
And I'm going to take a quick break. And after the break, I do want to talk about how the industry is viewed, how this profession is viewed by the general public. But we'll be right back after this very brief message. Are you confused by all the conflicting dog training info flying around the internet? Tired of hearing about compromises that don't consider the dog's overall wellness? Looking for more than just how to teach dogs to do or not do something? If you feel like there must be more to dog training than the same old tired arguments about tools and methods, you're right. No matter your background, discover an inclusive community designed to go beyond traditional dog training and develop what you need to live your best life with your dog at Positively.com. Accounts are completely free to set up, and you'll find countless pages, videos, and courses to level up not just your skills and knowledge, but also how you think about living your best life with your dog. Visit us now at Positively.com. That's Positively.com. And now, back to the podcast. All right, I'm back with Gina and Veronica from Dog Biz. And yeah, I have this question to ask you now. So there've been discussions that dog training still isn't seen as a real viable profession, that it's not taken seriously. That, oh yeah, no, I don't need a dog trainer. I train my own dogs. Or, yeah, I don't need that. Or it's just seen as just part of a service industry. What would you say to that? Is that what you're seeing? Or is that like just people who are kind of down on the industry? Or is it, and I think from listening to people talking about it, it's the way they're treated when they go into a session, or what do you see it from your point of view?
I think it's changing. I think that it has been this long-standing sort of sense of like, oh, that's a hobby. That's cute. It's cute that you're doing that.
Yeah, that's
But how are you
exactly
going
it.
to actually
Well, it's
make
a
your
nice
living, right?
hobby. Yeah, I trained my own
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. And but I think that I mean, I think about how much that's changed over the last 25 years. I think it's changed for a number of reasons. I mean, in part because people like you, Victoria, have proven that they're, it really is a complex skill set, and you really can make a living doing it, and that you can really change people's lives doing it as
Yeah.
well. So I do think that there are a lot of ways in which things have adjusted, but I think we're still suffering under it to some extent. Partly just because I think sometimes those sorts of notions just have a long life. They just have a long tail. It's just hard to, to dispel them altogether. And I think partly because we are still an unregulated profession, right? So we don't have a medical board that says, okay, Victoria, now here's your license. You're allowed to go practice. We don't have, a legal board that says you've got to pass this particular exam before you're allowed to call yourself a dog trainer. And so I think in the absence of that, there's an awful lot of variety about how we get into the profession, the care that we take to learn what we do. And so, I think that's part of the reason it's still there. But I think a lot of it is just that we, as trainers, I think sometimes just still carry that with us. Gina, you were talking about, the pricing piece a moment ago, and that notion that, no one would ever pay that. And I think, the minute you hear someone say, oh, that's too expensive, you just assume they must be right, when really they might just not be the right clients for you. And interestingly, as Gina was saying, the more you charge, the less likely you are to hear that you're too expensive. So I don't know. What else would you say?
I feel like, well, first I think back to, I remember when hiring a dog trainer, no one ever did it. And now we live in an area, or in an era where it's common. So you're right. Sometimes it takes time. But I also think dog trainers, we have to take our responsibility too for this, because when we don't act like professionals, and I don't mean behaving badly. I mean, we set our rates too low. We let people cancel on us. When we don't act like we are professionals, we don't treat it with
carry ourselves that way.
Yeah, when we don't carry ourselves as professionals, then we can't expect people to treat us as professionals. And there's so many aspects of our business, and it's not about polish or slickness. It's about really thinking about what's best for the dog, what's best for the person, and also what's best for my business, and making sure that we are treating all of those equally important, as opposed to always putting the dog and the client first.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I mean, in thinking about carrying ourselves professionally, there's the pricing, there's the onboarding, which includes things like policies, and holding firm to those policies, because they're there for a reason, as Gina was saying, to support the business, but also to support the learning and the progress of the dog and the client or the student. Scheduling. And, I mean, every one of the first things that Thrive members learn, one of the first things we ask them to do is to make a public pledge to themselves and each other that they will never again utter the words, "When is good for you?" Right? Doctors don't say, "What time is good for you?" "Oh, you want Saturday morning at 10? Sure, here you go." No, they say, "Here are the available appointments. Which one would you like?" And letting go of the fear that if you do that, if you say, "Hey, this is my schedule, these are my set appointments," that people won't work with you. I mean, we can say categorically that's not true. Our Thrive members can tell you categorically that's not true. You wouldn't believe how many of them don't work nights and weekends anymore, and their schedules are full because, I mean, You can't see the doctor on night or weekend. Why do you have to see your dog trainer on nights and weekends? So it's that whole thing about, setting up a business that's sustainable, but that also reflects your worth and your status as a professional.
I love that. I love the fact that, you're basically setting your rules for yourself
Right.
and for your business. Are you and your dog struggling with reactivity? You're not alone. At Positively, we've created a powerful new approach that will finally provide a lasting solution for your dog's reactivity. And it's available for you and your dog right now. Go to positively.com, click Take a Course, and find Help Stop Reactivity to enroll in this game-changing online course for you and your dog today. That's positively.com. And now, back to the podcast. And that brings me on to what I get questioned a lot about is like, do I have to take on every client?
No.
And you shouldn't.
No, you don't.
And you shouldn't.
And you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so that's hard, especially for
Yes.
trainers coming into this profession because they're just starting up. But the client's not following through or there's some issues somewhere. Do we have to take on every client?
No. In fact, it's one of the very first lessons we teach in Thrive is identifying your ideal client. Who are the clients you really, really want to work with? The kind of client who you get them booked, you think, oh, I can't wait, versus you get them booked, you think, oh gosh, this is going to be a rough ride. The clients who give you energy, at the end of the day, you feel better than you did at the beginning, as opposed to feeling drained, and really helping people dial in who are those ideal clients for them, because then we build a business strategically to draw those and only those specific clients to the business. And it's interesting, Gina, you were talking about the wins at the beginning of the session. They come in all kinds of different sort of shapes and sizes, but one of the ones that we really love are the ones where people will either say, oh, I just booked an ideal client, or they'll say, I just said no to a non-ideal client. And you know what? I feel really good about it. And it just that sort of empowerment of, I don't have to grab at anything, that if I build a business that is designed to attract the exact people I want to work with, then I can say no to everyone else. And knowing that there's another dog trainer out there that they will be exactly right for, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's part of it. You were saying earlier about how we're such a helping.
Yeah, the heart getting in the way. And that's a classic example, I think, as far as working with clients that aren't the right fit, which is trainers are so worried for the dog. Again, that big heart, they're so worried that the dog or the client will not get the help they need if they don't do it. And so we take it all on ourselves. But by doing that, we're limiting the number of dogs we can help in the long run. We're just to help this one. And we're assuming that there's not another trainer out there that client might not be a good fit for. And that's a wrong assumption. I think, again, if we start to work in community and realize I don't have to do it all myself, I can take this client and that's a good fit for Veronica, and she can take that client who's not a good fit for me. So we stop becoming competitors and we start working on this problem of improving dogs' lives together that way.
I think the other thing that we often forget is that, the vast majority of dog training businesses are one trainer shows. Or they might be two or three people. There aren't very many really large outfits out there. And even if you have even if you've got, a small team, if you're a little bit bigger, even still, the reality of dog training in most cases is it is a limited volume business, right? You only have enough space in your schedule to work with a finite number of people and dogs at any given time. So it just doesn't make sense to be working with clients who don't respect your policies, with clients who you don't, enjoy working with.
Or cases you don't want to take.
It doesn't make sense. You can only help a finite number anyway. So help the ones that are going to contribute to your sustainability instead of contributing to your burnout.
And sometimes it's a matter of clients who are your services are the best fit for. So I think also it's about how can we best help these people. Sometimes it's referring them to a trainer who's got a service that's going to be a better fit.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I fired a client, I was just the young trainer working in Manhattan and very, very big designer. And I went for the first, we were doing 6 consultations and this beautiful, beautiful mansion-like house on the Upper East Side. They had all the monies. And, I charged for my 6 sessions. That's what we used to do then. And of course, no social media. So everything has to be done on the phone and all my behavior logs and everything have to be filled out. I have to fill them out by asking questions on the phone. So I go and we have a great first session. A lot of kids, very noisy, but I felt like, I was around the dining room table, did some really cool work. It was great. Second time that I went and this, I had to travel. I pay my subway ride. I have to travel. It's a lot. And I get up there and I ring on the doorbell and the maid answers and buzzes me and I go upstairs and she said, well, they're not here.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, well, we're due for a session today. And she said, well, they're not here and I'll let them know. And I was like, okay. So there wasn't much I could do, but I didn't get a phone call or anything of like an apology or anything. So I called the next day and she was like, oh, yes, I'm so sorry. We had an event at school. Okay. And then she was like, but yeah, I think I'll be around for the next week. And I was like, you know what?
This works.
I don't think this is going to. I'm happy to refund your money because then I didn't have a policy that it was be like, no, you need to.
Right.
But I'm going to refund your money. And I think you're probably better to work with another trainer because I have a very tight schedule and I just don't operate in this kind of loosey-goosey way. I didn't say that to her,
Sure.
but and so I fired my very famous designer Upper East Side client. I fired her. And it was liberating.
And look at you now living under a bridge.
Right.
There you go. Right. And it really was liberating for me to go, oh my gosh. And I didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Now, I've worked with a lot of celebrities. And so sometimes I know when I'm working with celebrities that I am going to be working with the hired help. That's just the way a lot of things are done. And you have to, when you know that, I don't do private consults anymore, but I'll still do online consults with people that sometimes call. And but I would know that I would be working with whoever it was that I was working with, the PA or whatever. And that was fine because I was able to tailor all my lessons so that they would be able to get the information as well. But I'm just picking celebrities because it was a whole load of other people as well that if I knew what their day-to-day lives were, I was able to cater to that. But I went in with my eyes fully open.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, I started to go, I'm taking control of myself because I was that trainer that was doing a lot of work with rescue. I was that trainer that was doing a lot of pro bono work. And I was that trainer as well that is kind of schlepping around Manhattan, seeing all of these very fancy schmancy people, and I'm low on the totem pole in their day.
Yeah.
But I realized, and I think that's what created my attitude now, was like, I'm going to be the most important thing in their day.
Yes.
Because I'm actually working with something that for most people is really important. So I changed my attitude there and then. I matter, I said to myself. My profession, what I'm doing matters because it changes that dog's life and it helps those people. And it's amazing when it all comes together. So no, I'm going to have to become more flexible in the way that I approach things and have my eyes more open. If I'm going to take on certain clients, I have to be aware.
Yeah, but I love that. I mean, I love you standing your ground as a professional. To say these are the ways in which I'm willing to be flexible, and another trainer might not work for them. But I mean, ultimately, one of the things we always teach is that when you are designing service, so when you say, okay, this is my ideal client, and then you're designing services to match and draw that ideal client, then it just makes sense to have policies around that and to say, this is the way these services are meant to be used, because you design them that way for a reason. And I think sometimes we think like, oh, well, I don't want to be, I think trainers sometimes think that somehow it's being inflexible or it's being unkind. But we always remind people that, if you have a policy, for example, that is about no cancellations, or if it's a policy that's about using a certain number of sessions, or using the package in a set amount of time, things like that, that's not just good for your business. It's actually really good for the dog and the person too, because of all the things as trainers that we disagree on, we can pretty much all agree that consistency really does make a difference in training. And so we just have to stop and think that the policies really are in the client's interest as well. We all get busy. It's really easy for someone to say, oh gosh, I had this school event, or something came up. But if they understand that they're going to lose the session if they do that, they will prioritize the dog, which means that they are more likely to get results, which is better for your business, but it's also better for them and better for the dog. Everybody wins that way.
100%. So, okay. The other thing that I hear a lot is that from people, marketing can be hard, and that flashy, guaranteeing behavior, I'm going to have your dog walking off leash, you're going to be able to do this, that, and I'm going to be able to cure your dog, wins over real life marketing. How do you stand up and make yourself heard in a profession where there are a lot of snake oil salesmen, where there are a lot of trainers that are pretty brutal to dogs, whether there are other trainers that aren't brutal to dogs, they just have a very different way of training them, which might include some hard punishment that certainly a lot of us don't agree with. How do you stand up against and make yourself heard in all of this noise, especially now in this day of social media, where we have so many trainers that are very successful on social media with huge followings, yet they are brutalizing dogs? How do you stand up and make your business shine?
Yeah, I think for starters, we have to stop being afraid to tell people that we can help. So often we spend a lot of time talking about how we're going to train, which is not our client's first priority. Generally, their first priority is my house going to be calmer? Is this walk going to be easier to take? And we are afraid to say those things because we don't want to look like the snake oil salesman. We want people to see our ethics. There's no reason why we can't do that. There's no reason why we can't say, I can help, but do it in an ethical way. And I think, Veronica, that's just getting down to marketing message.
Yeah, I know. No, it really is. I think that there's a middle ground, right? There's the unethical, over the top guarantees, but then there's what we see so often in positive reinforcement world, which is, we're going to teach you how to understand your dog, and we're going to do it with positive reinforcement, et cetera. And it's like, that's all great, but people don't wake up in the morning thinking, I really want to understand my dog
I
better.
want
They
to.
wake up in the morning saying, if he does that one more time, I'm gonna lose
Yeah.
my, you know.
Can you stop this behavior? That's basically what they're saying.
No,
Stop
right
it
now,
now.
yesterday. And so because we are so ethical in our area of the profession, we actually don't, we end up not having a marketing message. And so one of the things that we get asked a lot is why, because you're sitting there from like the typical positive reinforcement trainer sitting there thinking, okay, I don't get it. I'm less expensive. I'm more qualified, and I'm not going to hurt the dog. Why do people keep going to the shock jock down the street, paying crazy amounts of money,
Yes.
and then coming to me after they realize what they've done with tons of regret and saying, will you please help me fix it? Because it's not that people don't love their dogs, and it's not that they made that choice because they didn't care. They made the choice because, A, as Gina was saying earlier, they assumed that they must be better because they were charging 3 times as much. And also, those people said they were going to fix it, and your website said, I'll teach you to understand your dog. And it's just, yes, we need to teach people to understand their dogs, but we don't get the opportunity to do that if we don't tell them that we can make change.
We can't confuse our mission with our marketing message. Your mission is not your marketing message.
Yes, exactly. And so if you think about it, you can, if you don't believe you can actually make a difference, it's going to be really, really hard to get clients. It just is.
Well, and you shouldn't be taking that client.
And you shouldn't be taking that client.
You shouldn't be punching above your weight. Absolutely not.
But the thing is, there are certain things that I think, unfortunately, a lot of positive reinforcement dog trainers treat their websites like they would have a conversation in a consult. If I'm in a consult with the client, I'm going to tell them, okay, you're here. Your goal is to get your dog here. Here are all of the factors that are going to play into that. Here are the parts that you're going to control about how far we get. Here are the parts that are my responsibility in terms of how far we get. And here are the things that aren't under our control. For example, anything that's genetic based fear, things like that, right? So it's just like we can have that conversation at the consult about setting expectations. On the website, we have to make people believe that change is possible.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there has to be a sense of, I see you right now. I see you hiding behind parked cars when you see another dog. I see you walking your dog at 4 a.m. because it's gotten so embarrassing to be seen in front of the neighbors when there's another dog around. I want you to imagine what it could be like to walk your dog in broad daylight and to really enjoy your walks again. There is nothing in that statement that says, I guarantee that your dog will never have another outburst at another dog, right? There is a middle ground. And so I think it's just really, really important that we start helping people imagine what training could do for them. Then when we've got them, we say, okay, let's talk about expectations and let's talk about what's possible. And then let's get the most change we possibly can together.
And if you want to fix the relationships, again, to me, that's mission. My mission is to improve the relationship between the dog and the person. I'm going to do that by making their life with their dog better. That's going to have the single most impact on that relationship is if I can help them live more peacefully together. But that's not on my... That's not a marketing message. That's not a marketing message.
Your marketing message.
Improve the bond with your dog is not a marketing message.
No, it's really not.
And I mean, that's what we want.
And it's potentially offensive.
It's potentially offensive. If you're saying, what do you mean my bond isn't... I love my dog. Right. My dog loves me.
Right.
Yeah, we have to be careful.
I just want them to come when I call. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. I just want... when I ask my dog to do something, I want my dog to do it. I want my dog to listen to me. I want my dog to stop doing stuff. Yes. We have a collection of courses going, help stop reactivity, blah, blah, stop this. Well, it's obviously more than that.
Right.
That course is to help stop reactivity. Yes, totally. Right. And, how to speak dog and all of these like quick fixes. That's just a thing on management, by the way. It's just, but you got to speak that language because, and I also learned that because I am so bond and I'm so relationship and but I had to start thinking in terms of solutions and support and before, because I'm the one who geeks out on cognition and on this and that. I want to share that. I find it so exciting and so amazing. But people they don't have time. Just fix this problem for me, please.
Mhm.
And let's get on.
And then I might get interested in what you're interested in.
Right.
Yeah.
But first,
Right.
you have to fix the problem.
Absolutely. Okay, my next question, and I know this is probably going on a bit longer, but I hope you've got some more time.
We're happy to stay in chat.
Okay, the next question is this profession. We are female dominated in this profession. How do we attract more diversity? And also, how can we, and I'm just speaking in terms of women here, but how as women can we be taken more seriously? Because I've certainly experienced it in my life as an actor, my life as a dog trainer, my life on television. You know, I've constantly been put down for, my success. And God forbid, this always like blows people's mind of like what she actually created. It's me or the dog. Yes, that was my creation. But yet there's still stuff out there where people are like, well, she was just hired because she was, just stupid things that you hear. Like, if I was a man, I don't think that would happen. I think I would be taken more seriously. So there's a lot there to unpack. And maybe we start with that woman question. How can we be taken more seriously as women? And how can we attract more diversity into this profession?
Well, I'll start with the first piece of that, which is just how do we as women operate in this profession, and I think it's just what we've been talking about.
I was going to say the same thing.
Value ourselves. No one will value us if we don't value ourselves, and so not being afraid to price ourselves accordingly, not being afraid to operate as professionals, not being afraid to step into the arena sometimes. And that means that we're going to take some criticism once in a while. But I think that if we want people to see us as valuable, we have to first value ourselves.
Yeah, and not being afraid to enforce policies, including, policies around, if you have a policy with your clients that says, when you're working with me, you're going to use these methods or tools and you're not going to use these ones or those ones, it's like, then you stand firm in that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I do think that's a huge piece of it for sure.
Yeah. Again, remembering that you have set your business up, you have set your policies up in order for you to best be able to help dogs. And so not going back on things because you get a little pushback, stepping into it and saying, no, acknowledging your education and your experience and saying, no, from my experience, this is going to be the way we should do it. This is the best way. Because when you step into that confidence, people will follow you. That's what people want. They want someone who they feel like they're going to be in good hands with. And it doesn't mean that you have to be the most outgoing person in the room. You don't have to be that. You just have to be confident in what you're telling people to do and why, and always explaining the why.
Yeah.
And in terms of diversity.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're seeing more. I mean, I look, it's, incredible to sit in an office hour, for example, and Thrive and to see the faces on the screen and, diversity in terms of, just everything I can think of, sexual orientation diversity and race and ethnicity and age and gender and also, one of the things that I think is really interesting too is just diversity of location, both in terms of countries, but also in terms of the kind of niche places that we work, whether it's, rural or city or whatnot. I think some of that is coming just because I think there are a couple of reasons. One is because I think dog training as a profession is an idea that's spreading. As we were talking about earlier, it is becoming, a more widespread idea. I also think that, programs like yours, Victoria, really showing a really, really wide swath of the population what's possible and what this
Right.
can look like. I also think there's a very low barrier to entry into this profession in terms of, cost and time. It's something that you can decide to do, and the next day you can take steps towards making that happen.
Right.
And so I think it's very accessible in that way. I also think, and I think this is something that we can continue to get better at, but I do think that as in the positive reinforcement area of our profession, that as we become friendlier and friendlier with each other, as we create spaces like Thrive, spaces like VSPDT, where trainers actually welcome each other in and are excited for new perspectives and new input and new experience, that we're creating safer and more welcoming spaces for people to step into. I don't know what the magic bullet is, because I'm not sure what the magic bullet is for diversity and inclusion, or for respect for women in our society at large.
Right.
But those are some of the the kind of positive trends that that I'm seeing in our corner of the world.
All right. Well, I have 3 more questions to ask you. Well, actually, this is the one question. If you could give, what would your top 3 tips be? Your top 3 most important bits of advice to somebody who is thinking of becoming a dog trainer. What would
Oh,
that be?
becoming a dog trainer. Okay,
Yeah.
go.
Oh, no, you go.
I know, and I didn't ask you this before,
I think
so
the
that
first one. So your listeners can tell we did not get these questions ahead of time. I think I think the first one, if you're thinking about becoming a dog trainer, the first one is to seek out really, really high quality education on the trainer side of things. So, go to VSA, right? Go really, really learn, because be very mindful. And I think this is part of what I think has contributed for such a long time at the idea that dog training is just this kind of weird little hobby, because most of us grow up with dogs, we love dogs. And so there's this, kind of human tendency to think we already know everything because we've already had these experiences. But the reality is there is so much to know and understand about dogs and dog behavior and how to change behavior and dog cognition and just on and on and on. And it's that sort of thing where as soon as you start learning, the top of your head will come off. You will realize, oh, I'm going to be learning for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like everything you learn, you realize how much more there is. And so do that first, because, if you're doing this out of a love for dogs, you owe it to themselves and to them and to yourself to to really, really learn, the science as well as the practice of dog training. And then the second one is to recognize that to be a successful dog trainer actually requires 3 very, very detailed skill sets. The first one is dog training. The second
You're going to love
is,
that one.
Yeah, you're going to love that one. The second one is you realize, well, if you're going to be able to train dogs and do it effectively, you're also going to have to learn how to teach people.
Yep.
And so
Which you may or may not like.
which you may or may not like, but is extremely important, is you have to also be able to relate to and to teach and coach in a positive way the people who are bringing the dogs to you. And then the third one, which is just imperative, it's non-negotiable. You have to learn how to run a business. There are
You do.
very, very few jobs for dog trainers. So if you want to do it for a living, whether you are, and you should know this, if you're sitting here thinking, oh, but I'm not entrepreneurial, I'm not business minded, the vast majority of dog trainers aren't either. I mean, the vast majority of positive reinforcement dog trainers are business owners because they love dogs, not because they ever imagine themselves owning a business. And so you've got to learn the business skills side of it as well. And so for that one, I say, once you've gone to VSA, come hang out with Dog Biz and come become a Thrive member.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you. That was fantastic. I know there was a lot of questions that I asked, but it really has been amazing to talk to you. And I should say, for those people that are listening, VSA, we obviously we kind of the curriculum is 3 parts. The first part obviously is dogs. The second is how to work effectively with people, and the third is about marketing and business, how you're going to set yourself up as a trainer. But one of the reasons why dog biz, what you're doing, Gina and Veronica, is so important is that um, when you get out and when you, I mean, I would even love people before students, even before they leave, to come to you guys. What you gain from going to a company like Dog Biz and learning from you, you will just reap the rewards for years to come. Even though VSA, we put a lot of effort and focus on it, your learning never stops, ever, ever. And so you continue learning about dog training. You continue learning about people. You continue learning about business. And if you can find the right companies to do this that will help you do it, it is worth its weight in gold. And I really wish, as a young dog trainer, that I had access to something like Dog Biz. Everything that you've shared with us today is just such important information, because as I always tell my students, you could be the best dog trainer in the world, but if nobody knows about you and if you don't know how to run your business, you're not going to make it in this profession. And this profession, I've been in it for a very long time in one form or another. This profession is the most amazing and frustrating and incredible and rewarding and emotionally draining and joyful profession I can think of. And so that is why I've stayed so long in this industry, and why VSA is there ready and waiting to teach you the beauty of what's out there and of what you can do, solutions and support, whatever you say. Yeah, we help you understand dogs too. We help relationships. But I think what Gina and Veronica have said is really important. You have to know how to sell yourself and your business, because without doing that effectively, then people are going to make decisions because a website is flashier, because somebody is making promises, so you have to know how to, yes, walk the walk, but you have to know how to talk the talk as well. You have to know how to market yourself well. So thank you so much. Now, if people are interested in Thrive or talking with you, where do they go?
Our website is dogbizsuccess.com. If you want to go straight to Thrive, it's dogbizsuccess.com/thrive. We have also got a page on our site. You can see it in the upper menu. That's just free resources. So we've got checklists for starting a dog training business. We've got guidebooks for how to build a thriving business. There's also a tool on there that I really recommend any listener, whether you are just thinking about starting a business or whether you've had one for 20 years. There's a tool in there called the Business Success Snapshot. It's a really fun sort of quiz, kind of interactive. It's quick. You can do it in a few minutes, but it'll ask you a series of questions. You'll answer, and it will spit out for you a customized report about where your strengths are, about where your biggest potential for growth is, and it will literally give you personalized next steps. Like, here are the places to focus on. Here are the next steps to take based on where you are in your business right now, to get you to the next level. So all sorts of different resources there on the website as well for people who are just kind of putting their toes in, playing around a little bit. And then if you're really, really ready for to dig in and roll up your sleeves and get to work. Come play in the Thrive Sandbox with us. We'd love to have you.
Thank you so much, Gina and Veronica, for joining me today.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having us.
Such a treat.
And that's it. I knew that this was going to be a great podcast, and it was so much information, so much really vital and important information. And if you are a listener, that is, you're a dog lover and you're thinking of hiring a trainer, then do make sure that you hire from a reputable organization. And certifications do count for a lot. It's the reason why VSA, we do offer, obviously, our trainers come out with CDT, Certified Dog Trainer. But we also recognized by OCN London as a level 5 certification as well. So I think it's really important because that also makes you shine and tells people that are hiring you that you're serious. You're serious about your profession. You spent a long time learning about it and you're serious about doing it. So, and if you're looking for a school, come learn with us at the Victoria Stilwell Academy and find your community. I think if that's one thing that we take away from this great podcast is that find your community. You can't do it alone. And that's why I'm also very proud of the Dog Behavior and Training Charter in the UK, where different schools have got together to create this safe space where even the competitive schools have got together where you can come to this website and know that the trainers that you will get from this website are ethical and have to follow a very strict code of ethics. That shows what happens because this is an unregulated profession. That shows what can happen when dog trainer schools and organizations take it on themselves because, okay, the government's not going to do anything, so we have to do stuff ourselves. So the Dog Behavior and Training Charter, if you're in the UK and you need to find a trainer in the UK, obviously we say check out VSPDT first. Go to positively.com/trainers where you can find a good trainer in your area, but also check out the UK Dog Behavior and Training Charter. All right, guys, I will see you again on another podcast. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Victoria Stilwell's Positively podcast. For Victoria's online dog training courses, more information, and helpful dog training tips, visit Victoria's official website at positively.com. Get connected on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media as Victoria Stilwell. Learn to become a professional dog trainer with the Victoria Stilwell Academy at vsdogtrainingacademy.com. And be sure to tune in next time as Victoria helps you and your dog live your best life together. Positively.
Are you overwhelmed by the world of professional dog training? We get it. There are so many different voices competing for the hearts and minds of people like you who just want the best for dogs and the people who love them. The good news is we're living in a golden age of understanding about not just how dogs think, feel, and learn, but also the importance of exploring and respecting the life experience and overall wellness of these amazing animals. But it can be tough keeping up with and making sense of all the labels, force-free, balanced, positive. And even when you identify the type of training that resonates naturally with you, people are telling you that positive training alone isn't enough. At VSA, we understand how hard it can be to navigate this world. And we're also at the forefront of rethinking what it means to be a professional in the pet industry working with dog behavior. And spoiler alert, it's about much more than just teaching dogs to do or stop doing something. So we'll make it simple. If you're looking to cut through the noise and focus on building or nurturing a career dedicated to serving the best interests of dogs and the people who love them, come talk to us at the Victoria Stilwell Academy. We have live and online courses designed for people at every step of their professional dog training journey, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Visit us when you're ready at vsdta.com. Once again, that's vsdta.com. We're here to support you no matter your background, and we'd be honored to share your journey with you. And now, back to the podcast.